Hey folks, it's Andrew. Welcome back. So it's been a while since I've done a video, and two reasons. Number one, I was on vacation and it was well needed. The second thing was I had COVID and it sucked. And it's funny, I never thought I would. Well, it's not I never thought is over the course of the pandemic. I was very blessed not to be able to get COVID. So it was just crazy, and with all the shots and everything like that, I ended up getting it. I don't know where. Probably I went to a convention. I took my children to a comic book convention, which they loved. And they probably get it. But that's not really on the point. But that's really why I was not making videos to recover. But I'm back, and I am excited to make more content. But the first thing I want to do is just say thank you to all of my subscribers. I cannot tell you how just shocked I am of just the amount of people who really care about identity access management, or IAM, and people who subscribe. I mean, I am over 1,000 people, and honestly, I never thought I would get there. I mean, I told you in my other videos, with one I would have been happy, but to have 1,000 plus, I just can't thank you guys enough. And I'm just so excited to share some more content with you to really help you in your journey to join myself and others in this great field of identity access management. Because again, we're not the coolest, we're not pen testers. They're all cool. We don't have TV shows or movies about that, but we're very important, and you can see how important it is with all the breaches and the identity hacks and the phishings and spear phishings that happen. Our role is very critical, and the more we get great people who want to be in this field, just the better that we are, because there's so much opportunities out there. With that, let's talk about this video. So in this video, I want to really take the time to make videos about job postings and how it is. I had one of the subscribers or people who watch my videos, a commenter, SS Bro, who asked me, "Hey dude, can you make a video on the best resume for identity jobs?" And I was like, let me do this. Let me make two videos. The first video is, let me take a entry-level role and let me talk about what they're asking for and my opinions about what this means and what you can do to level up yourself for this role. And the second video I'm going to make is, how do I put my resume or create a resume to kind of go over this job. So let's do that right now. Let's not waste some more time. Let's just dive right into this role and talk a little more about it. So let's go. So let me switch my screen because I am use OBS now. It's kind of cool. So I can do this. Okay, so this role, this is a IAM role, level 1 or 2. I don't know what DOE means, for Camtasia Health Solutions. And looks like they are a healthcare system or healthcare company that provides, healthcare for a lot of people. Blends of data science, compassion, so on and so forth. They're looking for this role. Okay, it's remote within these states. So not fully remote, but if you're in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, or Utah, you are somebody that they're looking for. So in this role, what they want is they want an analyst to responsible for support, gathering, technical requirements, development, evolutions. So a typical analyst. Just remember, there are three really main roles in IAM. You have your architect. They are the ones that do the blueprints. They're the ones that kind of design the overall how identity system will interact with other systems, the data flows, how do we load balancing, all that basic work an architect really does. A developer, they're the ones that are coming in and developing the workflows or the automation. Hey, I'm a new user. I come in, I use a system. How do I create that user account? Do I provision an account into Active Directory, or do I go to Azure or some other cloud provider? They're the ones that are doing the really coding, and those are really the code-heavy, experienced people. And you have your analysts, they do a lot of the requirements, and really a lot of it is really the end user engagement, in my opinion, and what I've seen. I've done roles as an analyst and architect. Obviously, I'm not a coder by trade. I know how to develop things, but not on an advanced level, because that's not where I came from. But it's really something that assisted me in my career, just to be able to hold my own in conversations. So in this role, back to an analyst role, just so after I just give you a quick just nugget about the three primary types of roles that you'll probably see in the identity world. This role is You want to provide support on accounts, roles, assignments, permissions. Again, like I said, a lot of this is endpoint, or when I mean endpoint, I mean end user assistance, and really be able to troubleshoot issues that could happen or that could arise, which is right here. Then you do some supporting tickets, probably incidents, including troubleshooting access. This is common. We'll talk a little more about that. Providing training. This is big because a lot of times where a lot of, in my opinion, IAM implementations fail. And remember, folks, these are ongoing projects. They're not just a project implementation, you're done. This is an evolution. This is something that it grows with the business, whoever you decide to live it with. It is always being updated and reevaluated to make it, because the industry is so much ever changing, especially with like AI and all these different things coming out the way, and way hackers can get access to your systems. You can't just make a one solution, you're done. It's always growing. So to be able to train your people and to give them the understanding and how to use the system and use it effectively is so paramount, in my opinion. And then create audit reports, which is really just be able to kind of look at or provide maybe certification reports, or hey, maybe every year give me all the entitlements. What is the longevity of access they're provided to people? Do we provide just on provisioning? Various types of audit reports are out there. Let's talk deeper now about the minimum requirements. So with the minimum requirements here, you're looking at something with experience with a IAM tool, such as SailPoint and Okta, which is weird because this is where I get really frustrated in the industry. SailPoint, and you're looking for somebody who has a Analyst 1 role. The problem with SailPoint is you really can't get that experience, like hands-on experience. There are YouTube videos out there on YouTube that talk about SailPoint, and they give you a decent background, but for somebody like myself, I love to play around with systems. I can always learn systems if you let me download it and just tinker. And that's how I learn things. I'm not sure if you're the same way, but that's just who I am. And there is SailPoint University, where you can log in and you could be a outside person to get access and watch or get training, or even join live training for that. But they're pretty expensive, easy in the thousands. But that's pretty much it. You have to be with a company who is implementing SailPoint, where you can get access to their community and download like the jar file and play around yourself to get really access. Because a lot of hiring managers, you can talk about it, but I think it just makes it easier for you to really talk really effectively about your special SailPoint if you're in it and you just do it on a daily basis. Whereas in Okta, for example, in my last video, I showed you how I did federation between Azure and Okta. I think this is where Okta shines. You can download a developer account, do it with Google, using your Gmail account, and get this, and then get access and deploy your own systems, and then mess around from there, which is great. And that's really where you can even make your own projects and put them on your resume, put them on YouTube as a private, and put a link on there. So when your hiring managers ask you, hey, do you have hands-on experience? You'd be like, absolutely. Look at my resume. Here's some links of what I've done so far. And you talk through it, kind of like how I'm making videos. That's perfect. You don't need a fancy setup. Just record your screen and talk. And then talk about what you're doing. That's where, if you can do that, that's your experience from there. And Okta is not the only other ones. There are so many other IAM platforms out there because, again, my personal opinion, IAM systems, different companies, your Pings, your Oktas, your ForgeRocks, all those, they're all, very similar. They're different on some features here and there, but at the end of the day, you want to be successful, the basics. You kind of know what to ask your customers. You know what you're solving in terms of their problems, their identity problems, their access problems, verification problems. Everything else you can learn from there. So it really doesn't matter. As long as you can talk really effectively about, hey, I've done this system, here's how I do it, that's fine. The approval matrices. This means is, do you understand access where approvals are required? There are many privilege entitlements or sensitive access where you're going to need more than one approval. It can't be just like your manager or their manager. It has to be their manager, your manager, or maybe the system owner. How is that being tracked? Do we have a backup plan? Because what if your manager's on leave or on vacation? What if they win the lottery? How do we fix that? Can we delegate? That's really what that means. So you be able to talk like that and ask the questions in your interview. You're like, hey, yeah, I know I understand improvement basis. Let me give you an example. I just gave you one earlier. That's really what this means. The security policies and standards is, so I've worked at both a commercial and in the government world or sector, private and public sectors. So it comes to your public sectors, NIST is our guidelines, right? The National Institute of Science, I think the T is technology. If I'm wrong, I'll re-edit this. But they have like different standards. For example, they have a digital identity guideline standards, NIST 863, and they're updating that recently. But it talks about, you know, how they identify digital identities. What's the assurance level? How strong can it be? What are some guidelines? What about using like YubiKeys or some kind of physical token? That's really what those kind of policy is, and we implement those to our systems, or we make sure that when we deploy a new system, we abide by them. And then you have other standards, like for example, this is a healthcare company, so the assumption is, hey, I gotta file HIPAA compliance. So I gotta make sure that when I deploy my identity systems, am I HIPAA compliant? Other policies out there, standards you can think of is maybe GDPR. What if you have data that's living internationally or in Europe? Exactly, that's where GDPR really is there. How do I need to make sure my end users know how to use our data. Like, you know, who is the person that's processing my data? You need to be able to know those standards. So really take the time to understand those standards, and I will link those in the description below. Some of the common standards out there that you can just look at and find and really understand and talk about it and use that as you try to deploy your systems. Knowledge-based systems, very simple. Can you write? Can you write that's more easy that people to get? Because you always have to write that assuming the people reading it are non-technical. So that's really what this means, simply. Manage identities within LDAP, Active Directory, and Okta. So when it comes to this, really looking at it from an Active Directory perspective, think about it as this, is where are my identities living in AD? Is it under a organization unit or an OU? Is it somewhere else? How do we manage groups within AD? And there are tons of YouTube videos out there, again, some that teach you AD in 30 minutes, which are great. Go look those up to kind of understand how identities and roles are being really managed. Okta, for example, has something called UD or Universal Directory, and that's where they have their own systems that they can manage it, where you're a identity within Okta and you're in one or many groups. How does that being managed from there? These are all easy to look up on YouTube. You can learn more about that and LDAP and how that all works from there and get that understanding. Same thing with Federation. I just did a video last time on Federation with not really AD, but Azure AD, but it's very similar. The only difference is Azure is, of course, on the cloud. AD is usually on-premises or on-prem. But really, what is that? Commonly it's known as ADFS, which is Active Directory Federation Services. How do you understand the fundamentals of Federation? There is another YouTuber, I think his name is Byte Go. I will link that to give him credit. He made an amazing, awesome video, quick short video, unlike my videos that are long, a quick short video about Federation, which will give you some good insight and background there. So I'll make sure to put that in the description below because it was really well made, and I think it'll help you understand like what is Federation and why do we use it. Databases, a lot of times what this really means, in my opinion, is identity management is really just more like if you want, let's say Okta, you want to provision accounts to another system that's potentially could be homegrown, it could not be homegrown, but how are their identities stored? A lot of organizations, maybe do a lot of homegrown applications, they store it on like an Oracle database, for example. How is that being managed? I have older videos that I did about role mining, for example, and this is where you'll take a bottom-up analysis approach where you'll kind of be able to access a SQL database or SQL, whoever you talk to, it's SQL, SQL, whatever, who cares? You know what it is, okay? It's a querying language, and you can say, how do I log into that database? Can I do some simple queries? Create star at whatever the table name is. That's really what is, and how do I really piece the puzzle together to really understand how a identity is maybe created, how access is being granted within systems, and how are they stored. And a lot of times that's really what this is. And then you'll hear a lot of things called a ERD diagram, which is the entity relationship diagram. That talks about how your databases interact, what data is being stored, what data is being sent over, what's a primary key, what's a foreign key, all those different things. And again, you can look up on YouTube. You can tons of tutorials about what all that means. Managing user access within operating systems. So how is Windows operating system being accessed? AD primarily, Linux, Unix, EC2. Those are different things. And of course, EC2 for those, that's more AWS from cloud instance, but these are more operating systems. It's interesting they actually lumped in EC2 as operating system. I don't really think it is. This is big too, security models, including rules and permissions. So your ABACs, your RBACs, how does that work? Do you understand the basic concepts of that? If you don't, I got videos for you to watch, and again, I'll put them in the description. Take a look at them. I talk about RBAC and ABAC, or your two common ones. There may be some more PBAC or policy-based access control, something that's coming in the future. Full disclosure, I am still learning PBAC, so I'm not gonna make a video because I don't know it that well. Why would I do that? That doesn't make sense to me. I want to really take my time to really understand it, so I can make you a good video and talk about it, because to me that makes much sense. Communication. I cannot tell you how important it is to be able to communicate. A lot of you people give me feedback on my channel that, I do a great job explaining to it. And I'm proud of that, because that's, to me, one of my skills is I have learned this over my years to be able to communicate to people effectively. And what I mean by that is I need to be able to explain an identity system or a solution or a problem to somebody who maybe doesn't have a lot of time or that's not technically savvy. How do I do that? That's really what this is. I will take anybody and hire anybody who can very effectively communicate. And it doesn't have to be verbally. This can be written communication too. But how do you communicate properly to the right people? All the stuff up here, I can teach you all that. And that's the nice part about IAM is you can learn all this stuff. But communication skills is something where you definitely need to learn it and experience it. There are tons of books out there. It's funny too. My very, very, very first conference speaking engagement at Denver 2018, I spoke about active listening, and I cannot tell you how much that was just an amazing experience for me. But it's so effective where it's communication skills because you're really listening. You're not talking. You're trying to understand. And I'll link that again in the description below. You have time, watch that. It's a very valuable thing that, to be honest with you, a lot of people suck at, especially IT folks. We are really, really bad at active listening because we just want to chime in oh, I know the problem, or oh, I know the answer. I'm like, you didn't really hear that, or you cut somebody off and it's rude. This is generic, organized, prioritize work and with low supervision. So can you manage your time? Are you good at time management? Can you really take the priority of, or asking the questions, hey, what takes your precedence? What's priority first before I tackle these first, before I tackle maybe all the smaller mundane work that I need to do from there. So that's really what this is. And then again, these down here is this identity access management, bachelor's degree, sure, okay. Or 1 year experience, hey, I'm telling you right now, you can get experience by making projects, doing your own home lab, talking about it. To me personally, that equivalents experience in my opinion, and really talking about what you did and why. 2 or more core operating systems. Again, YouTube has tons of videos on learning Linux, Unix, Windows. That's fine too. Applications or software used by Canva such as AAD. Tons of videos, free tons of videos. So on all these, even SailPoint, you have that to your disposal of all the different videos to really watch. It's not bad. It's entry level, so it starts, as you grow in your career and do more work. As you see here, it expands to even that. So which is nice. So that's really in a nutshell. And let me go back to my face. See me? I'm back. That's in a nutshell this role. And the goal is it's a great entry level role, and I really appreciate them being pretty descriptive. Could have been better, but I've seen worse job descriptions out there for IAM roles. So I hoped I gave you some good clarity and where I think you should tackle in terms of experience or what you need. And if I said anything in this video where you're like, I'm not sure, I got you. I put those links below to give you some more experience from there, because that's where you get great entry level experience in here. And these are anybody, even your help desk folks, help desk people. You watch this video, you probably do half this already today. apply for this role. And this is where in my next video, I'm gonna talk about how to do that. How do I write the right experience or describe what I do that makes me eligible for a role like this? All right, that's it. Really hope everybody got some great value from there. Again, thank you everyone for subscribing. I just cannot thank you enough. I'm just so overwhelmed with joy for your support. And I have so much more videos on pipeline that I can't wait to make. So leave a comment, subscribe, share with your friends, people who you think want to be an identity. Send them my way. Watch the videos, give me some comments, give me some feedback, good or bad. I am here to always grow with you. And as always, stay curious because you never know. I'll see you soon. See ya.